Everybody ready? Okay, we are going to call our meeting to order. If everybody would please rise for the invocation. Who's got it tonight?
Chief Penny.
Chief.
God our Father, bless us as we gather today for this meeting. Guide our minds and hearts that we will work for the good of our community and help all your people. Teach us to be generous in our outlook, courageous in face of difficulty, and wise in our decisions. Father, we praise you forever and ever. Amen.
Amen. Everybody, please remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
If Mr. Porter would note that all three trustees are present. We have approval of minutes from the May 3rd public hearing and trustees meeting. Let's do the public hearing first. Do we have a motion?
I move we approve the May 3rd, 2022 public hearing minutes.
A second?
Motion is second. Any further discussion? Mr. Porter.
Mr. James?
Aye.
Ms. Schwagman?
Aye.
Mr. Weedman?
Aye.
I move we approve the May 3rd, 2022 trustee meeting minutes.
A second?
Motion is second. Any further discussion? Mr. Porter.
Mr. James?
Aye.
Ms. Schwagman?
Aye.
Mr. Weedman?
Aye. Next item on the agenda is public comments. Do we have any?
I don't believe so, sir.
No public comments. Okay. Sheriff Patrol report. Where's Mike? Oh, he's on the other side now.
I'm like,
I know, they moved.
Mike, where did you go?
I don't know if you're moving up or you got demoted. I'm not really sure
Keep
yet.
everyone on their toes. Just real quick, on Saturday night, one of your vehicles was involved in a collision on Montgomery at Plainfield. Luckily, everyone's fine. The vehicle is going to be a total loss. It was one of your older, actually, I think it is your oldest vehicle, and it was set to be traded in. So
The Dodge, I hope.
Yep.
it's the Dodge.
the Dodge.
Yes. So,
Thank you.
bad news, good news thing.
Yeah, that's right.
Nobody hurt. Bad news.
Nobody was hurt?
Nobody's hurt. So,
Okay.
just the way that car was hit, and it's an older vehicle. So,
Yeah.
But we've already had one body shop looked at it, and they declared it a loss. So now the insurance company will come out and take a look at it,
Okay.
and we'll go from there.
All right. Anything else to report?
No, nothing at this time.
Okay.
Quick.
Any questions?
Yes. The Kenwood Town Center robbery, any update you can provide on that?
It's still under investigation. Yeah.
Any other questions? Chief, EMS fire report.
The only thing I have is, you'll notice our vehicles have been out about for the last couple of weeks. We're heavy into doing our hydrant maintenance. The trucks are out and we're greasing them and cleaning them up and making sure the caps work fine and just getting them in top shape. So they've been out doing that for the last 2 weeks. That's all I got.
Okay. Any questions?
Question for the chief also. I noticed the no parking signs did go up on Charter Oak yesterday, I think. There's still some people parking there. Obviously, they may not have even noticed yet. Is there any further thing we're doing besides putting them up and waiting for people to notice, or
No.
what's the
The
protocol
sheriff
there?
has to go door to door.
Oh,
Well, I don't know. I don't want anybody to get ticketed unexpectedly here either. But
Well, you can ask Mike, but usually they wait a little while.
Yeah.
They're not going to go out the first day and write a ticket.
especially on a new street, it would be something we generally address parking complaints as they come in. It's not something we actively seek out unless it's a safety issue. So no one's going to be. They're not going to be out there writing people tickets right away.
very good.
Perfect. Any other questions? Roads maintenance and recreation report. Mr. Kellums.
The first thing I have under recreation, as you know, the bylaws for Special Events Committee asks that the administrator recommends members to the trustees, and a list was sent out to you today. The following names I would like to recommend to the board: Lisa Hodge, Holly Talmadge, Megan Dolenmeyer, Brent Grunow, and Joe Mueller. And this
Okay.
is a nice combination. We've got up north, we've got Kenwood, and we have Dillon Vale and Ross Moyne all on this list.
Perfect. Okay. Do we need a motion?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Do we have a motion?
I move we approve for the Special Events Committee membership the following people: Lisa Hodge, Holly Talmadge, Megan Dollenmeyer, Brent Grunow, and Joe Mueller.
A second?
Motion is second. Any further discussion? Mr. Porter?
Mr. James?
Aye.
Ms. Schwegman?
Aye.
Mr. Weaver?
Aye.
Okay, only other thing I really have for parks, besides we are extremely busy in parks, they're being used heavily. It's great to see. We had an incident Sunday in Bechtel Park where a young man and woman came in a car. We've got him on camera. He drove in, he got out of the car, let her get in the driver's side, took a slow spin around the park, came back, seemed like the floored it, heading right for the fence, slammed on the brakes, stopped, and then plowed right into it.
Really?
We got the
Which fence?
along the north fence from the parking, the middle parking lot.
Gotcha.
Where we used to have the festival.
Yep.
The north fence line.
Gotcha. Okay.
Should've had that
they didn't
video
go
ready.
into the neighbor's yard. The back wheel of the car came up 3 feet in the air probably.
Yeah, the
wow.
passenger side,
Yeah,
both
it
wheels
was pretty
passenger
amazing.
side came up. It tilted up on its side.
So
pretty
they
wild.
obviously put it in park, got out. The guy jumped back in the driver's seat and took off. So we did get the license plate from our cameras that we have in there, and one of the sheriffs came by today, got it, already made contact with the gentleman who says I'll pay with it for my insurance. He didn't say who the girl was that was driving. He wasn't really. He says she's testing to get her license. So
Keep
God help us.
practicing.
I figured
she
it out
needs
as
some more
much.
practice. I will say that. She definitely needs some more practice.
Let her run on the road.
There's some nice places in Blue Ash to go practice your driving.
That's right.
I can
Yeah,
recommend.
and the car. He lives in
Park.
Kentucky.
Oh,
So I don't know if the girlfriend's from around here,
Oh.
because I don't think he drove from Kentucky to come to Bechtel to practice driving. So I don't know what's going on over there. But but at least our cameras got him.
That's good.
It was pretty amusing to watch. It's like I never saw
Cameras are
anything.
earning their keep.
Yeah, never saw anything like
You
that.
were all
before.
16 once, or 15 and a half, so
Yeah.
that's,
But this guy's 30.
this guy's 30, and well, you know.
Skylar, you need to share that video with us. I think.
I'll try and send it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty
You'll
amusing.
get a chuckle out of it.
Any other?
So the only other thing I have under parks is a resolution for installation of playground equipment, and this is for behind here, back by the new maintenance building. So a resolution authorizing a contract for the purchase and installation of playground equipment and dispensing with a second reading.
I move we approve the resolution as presented.
A second?
Motion is second. Any further discussion?
So this is $98,000 worth. Is that right, Tracy? What was the amount?
$94,254.14, and that will come out of TIF.
Any further discussion? Questions? Comments? Mr. Porter?
Mr. James?
Aye.
Ms. Schwegman?
Aye.
Mr. Weaver?
Aye.
So next, I'd like to ask for a motion to advertise for Donegal Drive Culvert Project. If you remember, we went out for engineering for this a few months back. This is something that we got a 50% match on from OPWC, and the plans are ready, and we are ready to go out for bid for construction. So I just need a motion to advertise.
I move we advertise for the Donegal Drive Culvert Project.
A second?
Motion is second. Any further discussion? Mr. Porter?
Mr. James?
Aye.
Ms. Schwegman?
Aye.
Mr. Weaver?
Aye.
So next, I have another resolution. This is for our 2022 Reclamite project. A resolution approving a contract for the 2022 Reclamite Road Repair Project and dispensing with the second reading.
I move we approve the resolution as presented.
A second?
Motion is second. Any further discussion? Mr. Porter?
Mr. James?
Aye.
Ms. Schwegman?
Aye.
Mr. Weaver?
Aye. Tracy, anything else under roads, maintenance, and recreation report?
The only other thing, Kemper Road sidewalks, as you know, we've put in for this 3 times. This year we put in for the state systemic grant, safety grant, and we were successful and awarded $1 million for that project.
That's awesome.
So
Nice.
that is the only, I wouldn't say drawback, but the only condition on it is we could only use it on Kemper. As you know, we are connecting Schuler Park all the way up to McDaniel Park and up the street. So, so from Salzman up in School Road, we're getting ready to put another grant in there, a TA grant. I have a resolution, a PO tonight for some engineering that we want to do the portion on Bain and Deerfield in-house
Okay.
to connect to this. So this will just be on Kemper,
Okay,
basically from Bain all the way to Snyder.
perfect.
That's great.
Is this another example for the Kemper Road project, Steve Brutal-Chauffeur's magic grant writing prowess?
It is.
Very good.
It is.
Everybody root for Steve.
Amen.
And we also had some help from an engineering firm.
Perfect.
But,
That's great.
It was nice to get because we've tried on for this one.
This
Yeah,
is-
that's great.
yeah.
That's big.
This is a big one.
That will definitely provide connectivity for sure.
Yes.
I have a few roads maintenance questions.
Tracy, do you have anything else before they get questions?
Nope, that's all I have.
Okay.
Okay. I don't know whether anyone else got this today or not, but I got a letter from a resident by email about compost giveaways. Were you copied on that too, or anyone else?
We
I was
copied
not
and
copied,
I
but
sent it to
Mr.
Tracy.
Reed
Yeah, I
sent
sent it to
me.
Yeah.
Okay, you may not have had a chance to look at it, but I did want to bring it up tonight. Maybe we can address it in the next meeting, if not tonight. But this resident was concerned because he attended and there were commercial vendors there picking up compost, and our workers were servicing them using our equipment. So we were paying people to give them compost, which this resident is concerned they are then going out and selling after we're giving them this gratuitously, and possibly crowding out residents who were waiting there to pick up compost also. Is that going on?
Yes.
Okay, why are we?
So this is something that we've been doing for years. Obviously, this compost, and it's just grown. We have never regulated that it could be a resident, a non-resident, a business. We have so much compost that if we didn't give this much away, it'd be coming out of our ears. We would be paying somebody to take it away. Right now, we have an agreement with a landscape company that they come in at the end of the year, or usually they can't make it at the end of the year because the weather's so bad. It's usually not till the following year before we start picking up leaves again. They pull it out for free. We don't charge them for the leaves. They don't charge us to remove it. But sometimes, usually, we take part of that, we put it in the back. We keep rotating that so that we can give the good compost away. But we have so much that if we only gave it away to residents, we would have mountains that we could never get rid of. So I know there was a line this year, which there has been for the past few years, that goes through the parking lot, up the driveway to what used to be the preacher's house over there in Hartselle. So there was quite a wait, but it was really the number of vehicles, not necessarily that there was one or two big trucks, which there was, but it's turned into, I mean, that stuff's like gold, people. They're just lined up, and they were double stacked all the way through the parking lot until they got to the driveway. So I have no idea how many people were waiting, but it was a lot. It's a very popular program, but that's why we have never regulated who picks it up, because we've just got so much, as you know.
We'd have to pay to get rid of it then.
Yeah,
so,
we'd have
right,
to
that
pay to
makes
get
sense.
rid of it.
Fortunately, we have that new system in with the landscaper that comes and gets it for free. But
Yeah.
the reality is,
That
we
helps
used
us
3
a
years
lot.
ago, or 4 years ago, we used to pay somebody to come and empty that place out or get most of it out. And so for us, this is a great opportunity to get rid of it without being overwhelmed by it. So.
Yeah, I mean, it's really been a good partnership
Yeah.
for us.
That's good. If you have time, would you respond to that resident?
Absolutely
Second?
will.
Great. I had a question about something else too, and that's Happiness Way. And I know we've talked about that before, but I got an email from a resident who lives on Frolic, also wondering whether Happiness was going to be reopened now that the work on it's been done, and he's concerned it will be opened and doesn't want it opened.
And we've also got calls about people that wanted them.
I
So
know.
we're in the same place
I
we
hear from
were
both sides on that,
5
too.
years
When that
ago.
program when that project first started, we were 50-50.
Yeah.
I think we're probably still 50-50.
I think we're still pretty close.
I just responded to a couple that wanted to know when it was open because they wanted it open.
Yeah.
So
So now the traffic signal was
light.
just finished.
Yeah.
So we are going to go over there tomorrow, as a matter of fact, and do a punch list, a walkthrough, make sure everything's good. And if it is, then we'll be opening it. You know, we're supposed to have a traffic study after it's been opened for a while. Obviously, the original agreement or thought of it was that it would also be after the office building was built and you were going to have the full capacity of traffic coming out of that development. Well, now you're not going to have that, so
Yeah.
really you're just going to have residential traffic right now. So I wouldn't think that a traffic study at this time is going to show much, you know, because there's not going to be any, there's no hotel yet and there's no office building, so you don't have people coming out of the office building. So right now it's just residential, but the plan is that after we do this punch list and make sure everything's good, we will be opening the road.
I'm sure we'll be hearing from people one way or another.
We'll be hearing either way, you're exactly
Yeah, both-
right. I
both
mean, we
ways,
still
no matter
are.
what.
We have been the whole time.
Yeah, maybe we should consider even having a scheduled forum to talk about that with the neighborhood here, like a public hearing or something where people could have a chance to have input.
Well, we listened to days and days
Yeah,
and
we
days
had-
of input
we
when
had-
we made this, when the trustees made this decision.
5 or 6
I
days.
don't know if we want to revisit that, but that's up to you guys.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the good news is you've got the traffic light there. It's on, you know, that flashing yellow to kind of start to educate folks who travel that road multiple times a day, that it's there and you're not going to have to stop mid-block. So hopefully once that goes in,
Yeah.
folks will have become aware that it's there and it'll help flow through there.
And once that flashing is done, it's a full circle.
Right.
Is really what we were waiting for also, because that's really to help the people in Kenwood realize that it's there, because that's the heavy
That's,
traffic.
Yep.
yeah.
And we don't want somebody getting plowed coming out of there.
Yeah, it's helpful. I will tell you, it is helpful for someone that drives that road a couple times a day. You know, whoa, gotta slow up. There's a light there now.
Yeah.
There's a light there now. So now, you know, hopefully that'll help as well.
I think it will.
And one other thing I wanted to mention, roads related. There is a strange sign that has been there for a couple of weeks on the off-ramp from I-71 north to Montgomery Road. Something about Ohio State and sexual predators, I think, or something like that.
I-71 in Montgomery?
Yeah, it's like right there before the fancy landscaping starts, as you're exiting northbound off of 71 Montgomery Road. But it's been there a few weeks now, I think. So maybe we could
I'll
remove
skip and
that or
look at that.
have ODOT do that.
We'll take care of it.
Yeah.
Is it just like a small yard sign that's stuck in the ground, or?
Yeah, it's like a real estate or campaign size
Okay.
sign and lots of small print. It says Ohio State or something at the top, and you go by so fast you can't even really read what it says anyway. So,
All right, we'll take care of it.
Okay, any other questions? Okay, planning and zoning, Skylar?
Yes, sir. So I have a handful of property maintenance nuisance resolutions for you. Get to the first one. First one's on First Avenue at 12095 First Avenue. This is tall grass and weeds. It is owner occupied. However, they've been unresponsive to us. A couple pictures.
This is a frequent flyer, I think.
This is a frequent
095.
flyer. Yep. So unless there's any questions, I'll read the title. Resolution providing for and authorizing removal of vegetation, garbage, refuse, and other debris, and declaring a nuisance for the property located at 12095 First Avenue, Sycamore Township, Ohio, 45249.
I move we approve the resolution as presented.
Second?
Motion is second. Any further discussion? Mr. Porter?
Mr. James?
Aye.
Ms. Schwagman?
Aye.
Mr. Weedman?
Aye.
All right, one block over, we have, well, this is actually, let's see. All right, I do apologize. This is not the right one, but this resolution is correct. So one block over, we have a similar situation. Also frequent flyer at 12083 2nd Avenue. Tall grass, weeds. This resident is also unresponsive, and we've had violations.
He's got a
on here
double
before.
lot, I think, doesn't he?
Was
Does
that?
he have a double lot there?
It's a large lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of them up there are technically double lot. Okay, so this is a resolution providing for and authorizing removal of vegetation, garbage, refuse, and other debris, and declaring a nuisance for the property located at 12083 2nd Avenue, Sycamore Township, Ohio, 45249.
I move we approve the resolution as presented.
Second.
Motion is second. Any further discussion? Mr. Porter?
Mr. James.
Aye.
Ms. Schwagman.
Aye.
Mr. Weedman.
Aye.
Okay, this next property we're actually all fairly familiar with. This is 6330 Kugler Mill. This is, for whatever reason, we've never identified the junk vehicle that was sitting in that back lot, probably because of the dilapidated house that was removed and all the other tall weeds and grass. There is it's remnants of a 1958 Oldsmobile, I believe. I think it says Pontiac on here, but I think it's an Oldsmobile. It definitely meets the criteria for junk vehicle. Certainly no one is driving, half of a car off of this lot. So it's finally time to clean this up, and we'll probably be back at this property for tall grass and debris in the future. But for now, I have a resolution providing for the removal of junk motor vehicle in Sycamore Township, Hamilton County, and the proper disposal, storage, or impoundment of motor vehicle by implementing the procedure set forth in Sycamore Township Resolution Number 2012-14 and sections 505.173, 505.85, and 505.871 of the Ohio Revised Code.
Quick question for you, because you said it's an Oldsmobile in the resolution.
It is a Pontiac Bonneville. I'm sorry, I was thinking Oldsmobile, but yes, it is a Bonneville.
All right, I move we
Yeah, we figured
approve
that
the
out.
resolution as presented then.
A second.
Motion is second. Any further discussion? I do have a question. Is this guy still living over on Brill? Is that where we're serving him?
He's back in the township, but I'm not sure where.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I think last we heard he was possibly with his ex-wife.
Nice.
I'd have to double check that. Yeah.
Okay.
The color on this is rust. No plate, since there's no back half of the car.
Have we tried to communicate with him?
Oh, we do try and reach out. Yep, we send notice.
He said he hasn't responded.
No, he doesn't respond to us at all.
Okay. Mr. Porter?
Mr. James.
Aye.
Ms. Schwagman.
Aye.
Mr. Weedman.
Aye.
Maybe 3/4. There's a tree growing up through it.
Oh, is it?
There is.
Yeah. Okay, technically this is the same violation for this property, but because of how the violations were entered into our system, in order to clear them out and take care of this, I'm asking for both resolutions to be passed tonight. It's a cages requirement is what I'm just going to go with. So there's actually a small refrigerator and some other debris, as well as overgrown grass and weeds at 7600 Montgomery Road. This is a property at the corner of Montgomery Road and Ken Arbor. The property is currently unoccupied. The resident has become non-responsive within the last couple of months. There was another violation on the property that they did clear out. It was just a trailer that they had removed, but these violations they're not taken care of.
Is this the White House?
Yeah, I'll show you
So,
guys
yeah.
here.
Yeah,
Yep.
I know what you're talking about.
So here's the small refrigerator that's clearly visible from public roadway on the driveway. If I scroll down here, I'll show you the weeds real fast. This property is certainly going to get out of hand if we don't get in there soon. There are two residents in the crowd. that I think are proponents of these resolutions being passed tonight. So I'll start with the first one. Yeah. All right, so the first one is a resolution providing for and authorizing removal of vegetation, garbage, refuse, and other debris, and declaring a nuisance for the property located at 7600 Montgomery Road, Sycamore Township, Ohio 45236.
I move we approve the resolution as presented.
A second.
Motion is second. Any further discussion? Mr. Porter.
Mr. James?
Aye.
Ms. Schwagman?
Aye.
Mr. Weedman?
Aye.
The second one's going to read the same. It's a resolution providing for and authorizing removal of vegetation, garbage, refuse, and other debris, and declaring a nuisance for the property located at 7600 Montgomery Road, Sycamore Township, Ohio 45236.
I move we approve this resolution as presented.
A second.
Motion is second. Any further discussion? Mr. Porter.
Mr. James?
Aye.
Ms. Schwagman?
Aye.
Mr. Weedman?
Aye.
Okay, the only other thing I have tonight is to remind the board and the public that there is a public open house scheduled for Thursday, May 19th at 6 p.m. And that's actually going to be held at the Kenwood Country Club. So this is for an upcoming rezoning to planned office on Montgomery Road across from Mercedes-Benz. It's a proposed single user for a new office building. So plans are online, and so is the information for the open house.
Did we send out any notices as to this? Is that part of the
We
process?
did. We notified everybody within 300 feet. Or excuse me, yes, 300 feet.
So that included Concord Hills, the back end of Concord Hills?
It does.
Okay.
Yep. I also contacted the attorney of record for some of those residents back there. It's the same group that I worked with for the language in the land use plan.
Okay, so they're fully aware.
They're very happy that we notified them. They have not said anything one way or the other about the plan yet.
Okay. Any questions? Okay, Larry, Law Director report.
I don't have anything to report.
Okay, any questions on that no report?
I like that.
Larry gets the gold star for the shortest report of the
Exactly.
evening.
Administrator report. Tracy.
The first thing I want to talk about is the Snyder Road Bridge project. As you remember, we talked about this a little bit at the last meeting. We sent the picture back out to all of you to look at the example of what it would look like. If you remember originally, it was about 105,000, the estimate. Then they said maybe 150, then they sent it out and somebody gave them a quote and said, no, it'll be closer to 200. Then they sent it to somebody else, so well, I think 160. So I've been talking to somebody from the state. They are looking for a resolution. The thing about the resolution is we can basically, after they bid the project, we get 3 days that I can say, no, we're not interested. So just because we passed a resolution, I do not have that resolution tonight. I was going to wait till the next meeting to see how the temperature was for
Okay.
it. But basically, if you want to, what we could do is set a ceiling of what you want to spend, including engineering. You know, engineering was 12.5, and design of the logo and lettering was another 5 or so. So you're looking at 13, maybe say 20,000 altogether in engineering and design. So if you wanted to set a ceiling that you included that 20 was a number that you didn't want to go over, and if it comes in and it's higher than what we want to spend, then we just say, no, we're not interested. We've talked about this for a while now. Design is basically done. We are on the hook for engineering. We agreed to the engineering in the beginning, so we are going to have that expense. But we also have, been talking with Montgomery, who would like to do a project with us at 275 in Montgomery, and 71 in Montgomery also needs some attention, maybe some paint on that fence that's been up there for a long time. So I just wanted to fill you in completely to see what your thoughts were on moving forward with that.
Anybody have any thoughts?
you know my position on it. I think it's a waste of money to put up a sign in Sims Township, just outside our border, to promote our township from a place where technically you're in it while you're on the interstate highway, but you can't actually get into any other part of it without leaving the township and coming back. I just don't think it's money well spent to promote the township there. We could put in several hundred feet of sidewalk, I would think, for that same amount of money, maybe more, or do something else that would benefit our residents more than just showily saying, "We're Sycamore Township, look at us, look at our bridge."
And the bridge is gonna get a sidewalk, so we will be coming back for a sidewalk there, but that construction's not for 2 or 3 more years, but that will be a project down the road for Snyder Road sidewalk. You know, we've never done that before because you couldn't get across the bridge.
You know, from my perspective, I think when the project was $105,000, and it was TIF dollars and what have you, and it was a shared project and a shared expense, it follows some of what our land use plan was suggesting that we needed to be pursuing. I was fine with it, but as the cost doubled and escalated and has since been all over the map, and who knows where the actual bids are going to really come in at, it seems, from my perspective, I would be much more comfortable putting a cap on it that we feel comfortable with and that is reasonable, and, you know, basically a not to exceed number, as you suggested, Tracy. I think that seems like a more prudent path to say, look, I'm interested, but I'm only interested so much. And beyond that, I think we'll still get our sidewalks, and we'll still get a fence that may look a little odd on one side versus the other, but I only have I'm only so hungry to take this project on. My appetite knows its limits, so, you know, I'm certainly amenable to discussing a not to exceed number.
Any thoughts on that number?
Well, you
So
know,
we originally had 20 plus, 20 for engineering and design roughly, and 105 for the fence, which gets us at 125.
I get it in today's day and age where, you know, costs are literally growing exponentially every week. I can certainly appreciate that there are certainly, there's going to be an escalation in whatever the bid comes in at. But, you know, I don't know. I mean, you know, maybe 140, maybe 150 all in, and that's about all that's about as big an appetite as I'm willing to go. And I don't know if that's going to even get close.
Including the engineering.
Including the engineering. I mean, that's all in. I don't even know if that's going to get us close, considering the last bid was 160 for the fence. I think I saw. I don't know if that's not including engineering, but
I'd be willing to go 150.
I mean, I'm amenable to that. And Tracy, I don't know if we feel that that's possible or not possible, or maybe we just wait and see, you know, what the bids come in at. And if it doesn't meet that number, it doesn't meet that number.
And I think that's fair. I mean, when we originally started talking about that, they were talking somewhere around 100. You know, 200 is not somewhere close to 100.
No.
So, you know, unfortunately, we had already committed for the engineering when that price came to us, and we thought it was a good idea. So, you know, 150. You take 20 out for that. You look at 130 ballpark. If that's our limit, that's our limit. I mean, I think we should have a limit. I don't think you know, I don't think we just give them an open checkbook for sure.
And for the record, my limit is 0. So
If they can do it, great. If they can't do it, great. That's the way it
You know,
goes.
and I don't know if Sims is all in, irrespective of what the bids come in at, or if
They
they're.
seem to be.
Well,
Because from my understanding, they're also doing it on Hopewell Bridge, and I believe they're doing both sides
Wow,
of the
okay.
Hopewell Bridge.
Got it. Very good.
So I can see, you know, also if we're doing 275 in Montgomery,
Right.
you know, it's an entryway. 71
Yep.
in Montgomery, it's an entryway. You got an exit ramp.
Yep.
You know.
Yep.
You know, if we want to put our money there, I think that makes sense. But yeah,
The good
Fair
news is
I think
for
we
the-
should have a ceiling
The
because
good news this is TIF money.
yeah,
These are TIF funds that we are in relatively good shape with. These do not come out of the general fund, and so that's the only reason why I would support this project.
and
would
if
agree.
we don't do it, we will still have a vandal, you know, one of the standard ODOT vandal-proof fences. So it's not like there won't be a fence there,
Right.
you know, especially with the sidewalk there. So there will be fencing.
Do we get what kind of credit do we get on that for them not putting that fence up? Do we know?
I believe that credit is 58.
Is how much?
58? Yes.
So, was that 160, the last time we saw 160, was that including the?
No, that was with the credit already taken off.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's a lot of dough.
Yeah, it is a lot of dough.
So we get 58 if we just say put up the chain link fence.
No, we
No.
don't get 58.
We get a credit
Then they
though.
put up
We get
the
a fence.
fence.
We get up a fence. We get a fence.
credit from ODOT of what they would spend to put that fence up, they will still spend that towards our fence.
Okay,
So if it comes in at 200 all in,
okay,
58 to us would come off of
okay,
that.
okay. What do we pay per, whatever appropriate measure is of sidewalk, per 1,000 feet, per 100 feet, whatever, currently?
Oh, it all depends. I mean, it's impossible to say. It's whether like some sections, if you need to put in storm sewer, you need to put in curb, you could be looking at $120, $150 a foot. If it's just a standard, you already got a curb, you already graded out, and you're just putting it in, you can get down to, a fraction of that, $20. And that will not be cheap sidewalk,
Sure.
because
Especially on Snyder.
on
yeah.
both sides of the bridge, you're
Yeah.
gonna need retaining wall.
On the south side also?
Yes, until you get to the property by the school. Coming right out of the bridge, you will,
Gotcha.
for the grade work. So, and on the north side, you're gonna need it the majority of the way to Trotter's Chase, because that's a deep hole.
Yep.
So you're definitely gonna need retaining wall there, so that's not gonna be a cheap sidewalk to build. It's nice and flat where the school is, but in fact, I believe if I'm not mistaken, the school even has some sidewalk in front of it already, doesn't
Yeah,
it?
they do.
A little bit, I think.
I think.
A little bit.
You should know.
I don't think they do.
No? Nothing?
You would know better.
You don't think they
Not from the
do?
parking lot to the corner where that
Because they
crosswalk
do in
is?
front on Kemper. I thought it
Yeah,
went
I don't
around the
think they
corner.
do.
I can't remember.
Scully, you might be able to pull that up.
There's a nice one in Sims in front of Silver Spring House that's well sprinkled around it.
Yeah.
Sidewalks up in that area would be TIF eligible too, though, wouldn't they?
Absolutely.
They all are.
So,
Yeah.
I'd rather
Yeah,
spend our
we'd
money
be-
on that than
We'd
on
be
fancy
using
signs.
the Kemper Gold Coast TIF that's in that area for that reason. So I will come back with a resolution next time for you to consider.
Okay.
With Christian Hills
Oh,
Are you
They're looking to see the sidewalk.
right there?
oh yeah.
It's
So
on the school.
along
There you
along
go.
Christian Hills.
It goes to the first driveway.
Yeah.
Yep.
But you were talking about further up, weren't you?
Yeah, but it's already into the first driveway.
Yeah.
So once you get down here,
There's nothing, yeah.
past their property, you're going, once you get past that ball
Except
diamond,
that
you're
there's
gonna
a
need retaining wall.
Okay. I thought you were talking about a different
Oh, are
spot.
you talking about here, Tracy?
Yes,
Okay.
so from,
Yeah.
along the ball diamond, I don't believe, from what I remember, that it's too bad. But on both sides of that bridge, you're gonna need retaining wall.
That's pretty.
See, it's nice and flat, it's graded already. You're gonna have a lot of poles that need to be moved, so you're gonna have utility coordination, which adds a year to the project.
It's gonna start getting steep here.
Yeah.
Yep.
So from there, almost all the way to Trotter's Chase, you're gonna need a retaining wall.
How much are they gonna widen the actual bridge deck, Tracy?
I don't really know.
Okay.
It's not, the widening is minimal because the curb on the other side will be gone.
All right.
It'll
Oh,
all
okay.
be on the one side.
Gotcha.
Because the main projects are fixing the deck, they're not building a new bridge.
Right.
Right.
That's amazing you do that, really.
Yeah.
Want to see anything else?
Nope, that's it.
Okay.
Okay. Tracy?
Yep. So, we received a check from the sheriff's office for $3,348.64, which is our share of forfeited drugs from the organized crime section. So, I'll let you know that. And then I have a couple resolutions. The first one, Mr. Barbier worked on this. We talked about this at our last meeting. This is a resolution amending Resolution 2015-112 and providing a civil fine for obstructing roads and sidewalks in Sycamore Township.
I move we approve the resolution as presented.
A second?
Motion and a second. Any further discussion? Mr. Porter?
Mr. James?
Aye.
Ms. Schwegman?
Aye.
Mr. Weedman?
Aye. Hey, Skylar.
Yes,
Do you have those resolutions for us to sign?
The violations?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, I have another resolution. This is a resolution authorizing and directing transfers of funds to reconcile budgets and appropriations and dispensing with the second reading.
Motion.
I move we approve the resolution as presented.
A second?
Motion and a second. Any further discussion?
So this is moving $48,273.60.
That is correct. From the general fund to the general obligation fund. So it was appropriated early in the year, but the transfer was never made.
Okay. Motion is second. Any further discussion? Mr. Porter?
Mr. James?
Aye.
Ms. Schwegman?
Aye.
Mr. Weedman?
Aye.
Next, I have a resolution amending 2022 appropriations for the Brookwood Fund and the Ohio Valley Ortho Fund, dispensing with the second reading and declaring an emergency.
I move we approve the resolution as presented.
Second?
Motion is second. Any further discussion? Mr.
So
Porter?
this is $58,000 for the Brookwood Fund, $109 for the Ohio Valley Ortho Fund. These both were budgeted but not appropriated. So last year, the $90,000 was budgeted on the Brookwood, only $8,000 was appropriated, and on the Ohio Valley, $45,000 was budgeted, and only $21,000 was appropriated. So this is to take care of those payments.
You have a motion and second. Any further discussion? Mr. Porter?
Mr. James?
Aye.
Ms. Schwegman?
Aye.
Mr. Weedman?
Aye.
Next, I have purchase orders over $5,000. First one's 22-111, blanket vendor, $6,194 for fire mobile communications. This is coming out of the fire budget and is appropriated.
Are those
Next-
TIF funds?
That is not.
Is there a reason why we're not using TIF funds for that?
What is that for, Chief?
It was to reprogram all of our radios to update them.
It was programming.
Oh,
It
gotcha,
was-
okay.
It was not capital.
I gotcha.
The next one is 22-236 for BPS heating and cooling. This is for air conditioning condenser for an air conditioning unit that went out in Station 92. This is TIF.
Thank you.
22-109-3, $10,000 for fire contracts. That's coming out of the fire budget. It is appropriated. 22-196-1, for fire travel and training for $10,000. This is also coming out of the fire budget and is appropriated. Next is 22-239-1, PAR Public Safety Equipment for $6,427.83. This is equipment for the new sheriff's cruisers, and this is coming out of the sheriff's budget and is appropriated. Next is 22-240 to the Ohio Treasurer. This is for the Sturbridge subdivision reconditioning loan payment. This is for $37,499.17. And finally is 22-242, Choice One Engineering, for $14,700. This is coming out of TIF. This is for Bain and Deerfield sidewalk that I talked to you about before, that's going to tie into the Kemper Road project. And this is just preliminary, so we know where we're going to map it out, and if we need to talk to those businesses about easements. So this is not final engineering on this.
Okay. We have a motion.
I move we approve the list of purchase orders as presented by Mr. Kellums.
A second.
Motion is second. Any further discussion? Mr. Porter.
Mr. James?
Aye.
Ms. Schwagman?
Aye.
Mr. Weedman?
Aye. That it for Administrator?
That is it.
Okay, Fiscal Officer report.
I have some questions.
Okay.
Sorry. A few things, just catching up on some things here. We're approaching the middle of the year. The administrator search. I know we've interviewed people in March. We have executive sessions to do those interviews. But the board voted on December 9th of last year to begin a search immediately. And it kind of seems to be on hold right now. I assume nothing's happened internally in the office here. I know we had discussion about a headhunter possibly. Let me offer a suggestion. Mayor Margolis of Montgomery suggested that we take a look at Management Partners, which is actually a locally based government search company. He recommended Jerry Newfarmer there. I've not spoken with him, but may I suggest you reach out to them, Tracy, and see if they can provide a proposal as to what they might be able to do to help us try to move the search along?
Sure. You want to send me that information?
I could do that, yeah.
Okay.
So, and also, Mr. Barbier is serving as interim law director, and ably so, but we also voted on January 4th. Ms. Schwegman made a motion to direct you to circulate an RFQ in an effort to hire a permanent law director, and the board then unanimously voted to do that. We're quite happy with what Mr. Barbier is doing, but that's still looming out there too, and he is still interim. What's the status of that RFQ? Has it ever even prepared?
It is not prepared. In fact, we just talked about that today, that we need to get moving on that.
Okay.
So I will be doing that next week.
Very good. Thank you. Also, someone brought to my attention about ADA compliance in the township and some things we had started actually more than a year ago that haven't happened. There was a ramp that was going to go in at the firehouse here, for example, facing toward the south, which still hasn't happened. Is that still in the works?
Well, we're ADA compliant because there is a ramp. It's just not where people want it.
Yeah.
So the recommendation was to put one there because we were bringing all the mail and all the deliveries to the lobby door for the COVID. But and there's still deliveries there, but the townships now reopened that the option is they can pick up material here instead of there. So it was a temporary thing, and the ramp would have been temporary because we weren't going to use the lobby of the firehouse forever to be a pickup point. It was only during the COVID thing. So I don't know if we want to spend the money to put a ramp in for not really a purpose. You know what I mean? The only thing that we get in the lobby now is just the Amazon deliveries and mail and things of that nature. But if an outsider wants a public records request or to talk paper, they have the option to come in the building here because it's reopened. So
Makes sense.
I don't know if we want to put that kind of money out for just because it would literally take a parking space up too.
Right.
I don't think we do.
That makes sense.
In that, but and I understand when things were hitting pretty heavy with the COVID, that the lobby of the firehouse was like the primary spot for everything. So it did make sense at that point. But then when things started lightening up, we're like, well, then we opened up the building here and so on and so forth. So.
We had also talked about a ramp, I think, for the Schuler route up north. To
Now
the
that's,
door there.
yeah, I haven't been involved in that, but that, I can see where we could do that.
Coming off of the backside.
I think the entrance
There's
facing the
one
parking lot, the
on-
main entrance.
There's one at the side entrance. So you're talking about the main
It's
entrance.
not one at the
off
main
back.
entrance though, right? And it's a long detour to get in the side, and then you gotta get somebody to come open the door. That's something we should probably still look at, because that is used by the public on and off at least quite a bit. I don't know what that would entail in terms of engineering and how disruptive it would be to the parking lot, but we should probably take a look at that. Do we have a township
could-
ADA coordinator, by the way?
An ADA coordinator?
I'm guessing that's a no. Okay. How many employees do we have on the payroll, do you know?
77, I think, including all the firemen.
It's over 50. We may be required to have someone designated as ADA coordinator under Title II of the ADA. Larry might be able to advise you on that, but we probably need to consider that if we're not compliant. We don't want somebody coming after us one day. There are hungry lawyers in town, you know. So, not me, but. All right. Just one other thing to note too, and this may tie into Mr. Porter also, but I did want to thank Debbie after working with you, Tracy, on getting financial reports out again this month, including an Excel format to make it easier to analyze them. I would recommend we get those on the web again, though, like we had been doing, maybe in their own designated place on the website. If we could
I've already
accomplish
talked to Debbie and Beth about that, and they're
Great.
putting that together.
Awesome. Thank you. That's all I had for Tracy.
Okay. Trustee comments. Tracy?
Well, actually, Mr. Porter didn't give it.
I'm sorry. You interrupted. Fiscal officer.
Yeah, we have receipts of $597,545.90 and disbursements of $707,010.88. Complete listing of receipts and disbursements is available in the packet for your review.
We have a motion to approve.
I move we approve.
Second.
Motion is second. Mr. Porter?
Mr. James?
Aye.
Ms. Schwegman?
Aye.
Mr. Weedman?
Aye. Okay, trustee comments. Tracy? anything?
Nothing other than spring has sprung. It's great to see everybody out in their neighborhoods, working in their yards and walking their dogs on our new sidewalks, and everyone's mowing their lawn 3 times a week because the grass is growing so quickly. And thanks to all of the township employees who are scrambling around the township trying to keep our own lawns mowed and things trimmed up. I saw them out working in some landscape beds again on Kelmwood Road on my way to work the other morning, so I know that they're out furiously in the township. Not only facilitating some of our favorite programs on the weekends, but they're out furiously during the week as well. So thanks to our crews, thanks to our staff.
Pass that along.
Okay. Anything for you?
I'll say ditto to all that, certainly. And just note for the public, all 3 trustees and some of the staff were able to participate in a ribbon cutting for a new local bakery, Busala's Baking, the other day, located across from the mall. And we all enjoyed some treats there, too. I told my wife about it, now she keeps going back buying stuff, too. So I guess that's a good thing. But it's great to be able to promote local township businesses when we all have the opportunity to do that and be there for ribbon cuttings. And if there are other new businesses opening, I hope they reach out to the township for that too, so we can promote local business that way. Thanks.
Okay. The only thing I have is, Skylar, did you send that letter out to everybody?
I did.
Okay. You received a letter, the trustees received a letter around 6 o'clock maybe?
Yes, sir.
Regarding HB 563, which is a is a bill sponsored by 14 members of the House that moves to prohibit any local government regulation of short-term rentals, which is defined as less than 30 days. Those rentals like Airbnb or VRBO. Basically, it strips local government from regulating these uses. I had a conversation with Representative Tom Brinkman. He's one of the sponsors of the bill. And after my conversation with him, he told me that he would be voting no if local government was stripped of control of short-term rentals. As I have read the legislation, it does absolutely say that. So Even the Ohio Legislative Services Commission, which reviews all proposed legislation before hearings take place, expressed concerns that this proposed legislation violates Article 18, Section 3 of the Ohio Constitution that grants municipal corporations municipal home rule authority. So I'm working with members of both chambers, both as Sycamore Township trustee and as president of the Hammond County Township Association, to strongly urge a no vote on this legislation. It was voted out of committee last week and was originally scheduled to be brought up for a full session vote on Wednesday of this week. But fortunately, the final full session agenda came out earlier today, and HB 563 was absent from that agenda. So we have a little bit more time to talk to some of our legislators. I've asked Schuyler to distribute a letter from the 3 board members in our township to review and then to vote on, so we can have our voice heard in Columbus with our legislators. So you've had an opportunity to look at that, and if there are any questions or comments.
No, I think it's very nicely written, actually, and I would go ahead and move that as a board, we approve the township sending this letter above our signatures.
I 100% agree. I second that.
We have a motion, a second. Any further discussion? Yeah.
Were we going to create a list of
Yes.
state representatives?
Yeah, I was going to say that I'm going to be providing a list of other state representatives that I think can be influential on our behalf in the legislature, and Schuyler will actually change the who it's addressed to, and because we'll have the signature page that it's going to be signed tonight, and we'll use that same signature page because he's only going to make a change on page 1. So. As long as nobody has any problems with that. Motion is second. Any further discussion? Mr. Porter?
Mr. James?
Aye.
Mr. Schwegman?
Aye. My only request is when you get that list of who you're sending it to, if you could share that with us, just so
Yeah.
we know what that final list is, that would be
I'm
great.
gonna create
Okay,
it.
perfect.
Yeah.
Yes,
Perfect.
ma'am. Absolutely.
Perfect. Aye. The second. Aye. Aye. All in
Oh,
favor. Aye.
gotcha.
We're on ayes. We're not on seconds anymore. We're on
We'll get
ayes.
one
I'm
vote
aye.
there, Tracy.
I'm aye.
Mr. Weedman?
Aye. Okay. On our announcement changes, we have, as was mentioned before, we have an open house at Kenwood Country Club, 8760 Montgomery Road on May 19th at 6 p.m. That is regards to the proposal for the property on Montgomery Road
That
across.
address is going to be wrong.
I'm sorry?
Kenwood Country Club's not on Montgomery Road.
No. It's for 8760
Oh, for
Montgomery
that,
Road.
okay.
For
Right.
that property across from
Gotcha.
Mercedes. There's a bid opening for the Station 93 HVAC improvements on Friday, May 20th at 10 a.m. For a complete list of all of our events and changes, you can check our published calendar on our website. Finally, I'm going to make a motion to adjourn into the executive session as permitted by Ohio Revised Code Section 121.22G1 to consider the employment, dismissal, discipline, or compensation of a public employee with a township law director.
I'll second that.
Motion is second. Any further discussion? Mr. Porter?
Mr. James?
Aye.
Ms. Schwegman?
Aye.
Mr. Weedman?
Aye. And we will need Tracy, Larry, Tom, myself, Tracy, Rob Porter, Tyler. Okay, we are back from executive session at 8:46. Mr. Porter, please note that all 3 trustees are present. If there's no other business, we'll take a motion to adjourn.
I move we adjourn.
A second.
Motion is second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We are adjourned.
Adjourned at 8:46 p.m.
Is that sufficient?
Yeah, if you say you're back in session, I think that you could.
Okay.